Now the final mystery is what all of these arguments do. You'll also notice I haven't really told you how to specify what content provider you actually want to access, or what table or rows that you're changing, inserting, or reading. To specify what data you're actually interested in reading or manipulating, you need to learn about an additional object called a URI. URI stands for Uniform Resource Identifier. URLs are a subset of URIs that are specifically meant to identify network locations, such as websites and files on the web. A URI is used to specifically identify or give the location of some data, in this case, on your phone. Let's see how the URI encodes the location of an exact piece of data on your phone. This object here in the code is a URI, and I'm getting it from the contract. I'm going to then use a log statement to see what this URI actually looks like. Let's go ahead and run that. So here the app is loaded up, and if I look in here, I can see what the value of the URI was. This location is how you know exactly what type of data you're querying for. The first part, content:// is the standard way to start URIs in an Android app. This is similar to how HTTP:// or HTTPS:// is a prefix for a web URL. The com.example.udacity.droidtermsexample is a critically important part of the URI, which specifies which content provider to actually use. It's called the content authority of the URI. And this is how the content resolver knows which one of the many content providers to actually communicate with. After the content:// and the content authority is a string that identifies exactly what data in the content provider that you're interested in accessing. The structure of this string, known as the path, will be specific to the content provider. And in our case, what we're trying to do is access all of the terms which are stored in the content provider. So that's what's appended here. So within the URI is the following information. It says, I'm a URI for content providers on Android, and I'm accessing this specific DroidTermsExample provider, and I'm only interested in the list of terms stored in DroidTermsExample data. Now, you might be scoffing right now and going, but Lila, how would I know what the structure of these URIs is even supposed to look like? I'm not a mind reader. And yes, that is right, you are not a mind reader. Which is why, if the designer of the content provider followed conventions, which they hopefully did, they should have created a contract class. Here I am looking at the docs for DroidTermsExample provider. And here is documentation for a DroidTermsExample contract class. This is the same type of contract class that you make when you're working with databases. If we scroll down, we see that along with all of these constants for the different columns of the database, the contract also contains information about URIs. If we scroll down a little bit more, we see this content URI right here, which is a pre-made URI that is usually included in contract classes. Here's the contract for the calendar content provider. And we can see that it also has a content URI. I've linked this contract in the notes and also the DroidTermsExample contract. Okay, so let's review what all of this code does. The first line gets the content resolver for the query. The second line calls the query method on that resolver. And using the query method is specifying that we're performing a read operation. To that query method, you pass a URI. The URI defines the exact data you're trying to read or manipulate. The rest of the query method, for now, will take a bunch of null parameters. We'll talk about these shortly. In the meantime, though, Cezanne is going to give you a few more quizzes for review.